Hello, from welcome to Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional. That's the recording time of exactly 8:30 a.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum can trade $3,102, up about 0.70% so far. As you can see clearly on the key coins, Bitcoin and Ethereum are both kind of flat respectively, while the altcoin a little bit more volatile than other, which is typical. It's kind of a mixed bag at the moment, with some of its own micro affectation driving on the specific coins, knowing the fact that Solana yesterday was surging about 4.6%, at one point even 7%, retesting the 155, but it seems like we're gliding back down to the down about 4.34%, hovering just in between the levels of 139. So we're kind of approximating around the 140 mark, right? And on the other smaller altcoin of the side, we are seeing a mixed bag right now. It seems like Luna is currently up about 7% so far. So we'll dive into the technicals to see what's going on in a bit. And it seems like just specifically on Ethereum, we are just gliding away above the 3,000 mark, right? And we know that the next level that we need to get up to would be the 3,150, which is the level that we've been talking about on a daily basis, even monthly basis now. And with respect to yesterday, we hit to all the way down to the $2,999.13 yesterday, and immediately got bought up. It was a flash crash because of the interest rate hikes, spiking to 1.81% in the previous subsequent days, right, from 1.75 to 1.81. So definitely not the most ideal in terms of the direct anti-correlation effects onto the overall market. As I'm looking into the media front, collectively there is not a lot of quantitative news coming out today, but there's one news, and I don't even know if this is like a news anymore. It's almost like they are just try to spin this out of proportion by just bringing things up, despite obviously there's relevancy. So this is coming out from a researcher from Cyprus, and this is coming from a professor of biological science. His name is Leandro Kostrakis. I think is obviously is a foreign name. Hope that I'm not pronouncing it correctly. So he's currently a professor that's reputable from University of Cyprus, and he has discovered a strain of COVID virus that combines both the Delta and the Omicron variants. And this is coming out from Bloomberg News that came out from a report on Saturday night, and it's based on what he his research and the article that I read so far. He's basically trying to name this like a Delta cron, another name for another variant. It seems like we are creating new COVID variants every single week now. I don't even know what to say. But ultimately, what the conclusion of this article so far is that they've named this thing called Delta cron. But in terms of like the severity of the of this COVID variants, it's still way too early to tell whether it's is it how much of an impact, and how do you compare the with respect to Delta versus obviously Omicron, which is less severe, compared to this new variant, into triangulating what is already been a big mess in the ecosystem that we're seeing in front of us, right? So it seems like the COVID cases are surging, on a domestic level, also on the international level, but also there are more and more variations of this one. So it seems like a never-ending cycle. Obviously, with this affectation, as we know, COVID is becoming more and more of a secondary type of effect onto the market dynamics. Now it's like the primary concerns from the investment sentiments, and I'm sure you guys know as well, is the quantitative tapering, the reopening up of the economy, which is still uncertain at the moment, which subsequently translates into not the most ideal job numbers or the CPI report that translates into what the Fed's mandate is, right? onto either spiking or normalizing the interest rate. Just as the Feds are trying their best, I guess, to tactically, maneuver through these murky waters, if you may, right? So that's the macro news. That's the most critical, and the other news are more just around NFT and just recaps on what happened last week, which we have been, keeping tabs already. So let's just dive straight into it. Respect to recording time of 8:36 a.m. on Eastern time. Ethereum traded $3,101, up about 0.61%. Right now, it's currently at the 27 out of 70. We are slowly showing some sign of curvature on the MACD and RSI front. So technically, you could say that on a technological and based on the current supply and demand dynamics, and on the technical analysis, purely just based on technical analysis front, we're very oversold, and this we're still extremely oversold at the 27 out of 70. And again, this is the worst downsell and the fastest as well since ever. If you look into the technicals, that translates into such submerged in the water. You could see that clearly we are way below water. We've been using a submarine so far. And with respect to the next level, again, right, we have to go back to the 3,150 to be regaining the momentum, or the next level down to the 2,853, which I think that's a really big stretch because of the fact that we already oversold, unless corporate investors sell collectively on a loss, or people just sell collectively sell on a loss together. That could get there, but how likely can that happen? People have to be, this is really a game of patience. Rather, are you a long-term investor or are you a short-term investor? Respect to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently at the 41,500, 29 out of 70, so still curving up. Seems like we're pretty much at the bottom right now. 40 is really the bottom, I would say, based on the technicals. I think the worst we'll actually see would be somewhere around the 3.8 or the 3.7500. Based on the technicals, I don't really see going down further unless, again, corporate investors or people collectively just sell more together. But obviously, there's a concern around the leverage, right? Do people have to, rotate their portfolio by selling part of the portfolio on a loss to be, overcompensating for something else? That's something we don't know, right? And we know that with respect to the real estate market in China and some of the real estate funds or just investment funds, as in general, as they are writing off their assets, right, they have to be selling a part of the portfolio to pay their lack thereof, right? So it's just to it's just a form of portfolio risk mitigation, but obviously not the ideal one. It's the last resort, right? Dogecoin is down about 0.75% at the moment right now at the 1501, anywhere from current level to the bottom at the 14,969 is still good. Right now it's just 31 out of 70. So I think ideally from here all the way to the 1350 would technically be the very, very bottom. Cardano is down about 2.25%, weighing out in between the levels, 115, basically contemplating to go back up to 120 or go down to 102. 102 would be the next logical step down, and I think we are already pretty much oversold. So the reason we got to 115 is because that's a level of flat number. That's the reason why we got there and bounced, right? And right now we're just kind of hovering, consolidating to regain momentum. But Cardano is not really driving by itself. It's driving by the overall market. Solana is at the 139.19 right now. You can see that, again, we're bouncing from the 133, which is the technical level, right? Again, 155, 133, 113 from here. Right now, we try to regain momentum to go back up to the 155. And we'll see how that goes, right? Overall, Solana is driven by its own affectation, but it's also have, I would say 70% driven by the overall macro market, but 30% will be driven by its own micro affectation. And you saw that yesterday. People, have a good appetite towards, this specific altcoin. So that's interesting to see the market appetite in terms of who they choose when we are in the panic mode, if you may, right? So right now the 31 out of 70, not terrible in terms of incurring risk. Again, right, 155, 133, 113 from here. XRP is at the 74 right now. Right now is in between again, right, 78 to 69. 34 out of 70, so not terrible. We're already showing some signs of reversal. So right now it's not terrible to incur risk. Again, 78 to 69 from here, right? Polkadot is down about 2.5%. We are pretty much at the bottom, right? Anywhere from current level to the 23 dollars will be a good level. Right now, the 39 out of 70. I would say if we break this current level completely, we do have some room to go down to the 20, but that's a flat number, right? So right now from current level to the 23, 22, yeah, that would be pretty good level. Worst level scenario wise would be 20. And then ALGORAND's down about 1.6%. Anywhere from current, I would say I'll wait a little bit to 135 to 125 from here. Right now at the 43, so it's not ideal yet. Shiba Inu is showing some signs of reversal because we were extremely depleted yesterday. I would say anywhere from current level to the 2110, and then 1381, and the bottom technically would be somewhere around the 900s. And that will be complete rock bottom. And then MACTech is regaining some momentum above 2, but this is not sustainable because of the fact that it's really relatively weak. I think 175, 143 is better. We have the head and shoulder clearly. That's why we're selling off so far. And right now it's the 40 out of 70. So I would probably just wait until 175. That's a much more apt, like a better level for me personally. AVAX is bouncing from the 80, exactly what we talked about, 36 out of 70. So in terms of incurring risk right now, I would say maybe just a little bit, but not a lot, to be honest with you. 80 is still a good level to incur like 5 to 10%. 60 is the next level to incur 10 to 15, and then 50 would be like 30%, right? Luna is currently up about 7.24% at the moment, reviving back up from the 62, exactly what we talked about. It's so funny that like all the numbers kind of came true in the technical perspective. Sometimes I surprise myself by how accurate it is. So 62 is the bounce, right? It bounced from that level, and but it's not sustainable, right? Because we're still over, kind of in the upper echelon of oversold, so it's like neutral right now. But it's not sustainable where we're at right now. So ideally, right, 62, 52 to 45 from here. With respect to elrond, we're at this 195. We're rock bottom right now, but you could see some signs of reversal right now. Very, very small peak, right? So right now, still not a terrible level to incur risk. We are already at the steal level. So to your, take a look at your risk tolerance and see if this is reflecting onto your risk mitigation. And then with respect to risk management level, these are levels that I've identified for the respective coins that we talked about already. So let me know if you have specific questions. And for the Patreon members, I look forward to seeing our one-on-one sessions later today. So really appreciate you for joining me this morning. And I'm going to have breakfast now. And take care. Bye.